What's the deal? This is Alfred Shivy Brooks, your candidate for Atlanta City Council, post one at large, and I'm chilling with my brother Parlay, and we in the apartments.
Hey, Parlay, meet me at the apartment.
Yo, this your boy Parlay, and we in the apartment with Parlay. Meet me in the apartments. Hey, the city really need to be, retouched up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And times change and people evolve and things evolve, and there's always a time for a new leader to emerge. And I feel like now, especially in Atlanta, I feel like we smothering that process because the older people who've been had it don't want to let it go, and the youngins don't want to respect the older ones who giving the knowledge in the game. And it's just time to just let the leaders be leaders. It's time to let the new voices be new voices and support what you believe in and what you rock with. You know what I'm saying? With the time of social media and the internet, you can hear everything. You can hear and find out everything that you need to find out. You can watch videos and understand the person's character. You know what I'm saying? You can read things they did. You can see, you can hear what they say and how they say it and the passion that they said it and the stuff they done before. You know what I'm saying? So when you start getting into who you want to follow and who you're looking up to, really find out who they are. Find out their character and make sure that the person that you follow is a person that really can lead you down the road or toward things that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I love my city. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta is shit, partner. You understand me? Yeah, Atlanta the shit, man. You feel me? Like, it's just like from the industry standpoint, because like everybody who watch, we understand that this podcast, everything that goes on, this shit is culture. You know what I'm saying? So you got the culture side of it, where when you meet the culture, Atlanta has we're gonna say the crown of hip hop for at least past 20 years, 20 plus,
Facts.
20 plus.
Facts.
All right, and so we changed it with that. Atlanta has also changed the culture with fashion numerous of times. Big clothes, baggy clothes to the tight fitted clothes. Atlanta has also changed the culture with lingo, trap, all this trapping, all them words started in Atlanta. Good and Mob, Outkast been talking about that way back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And to talk about it on a more current side, Atlanta, which is the head, helped push Georgia to become blue this year. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So when I say I love my city, it's a lot of different variables that come along with that. And I don't just mean the streets. I just mean everything. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, my next guest is a person who, since I met him this past year and a half, I have seen him do a lot of work. I have seen his ambition and what he want to do and what drives him. And not was just talking about it, I've seen him put the work in. And not just put the work in saying this is what I want to do. His job title and what he do shows you that what he really care about. Because to do this, to get paid at what these people get paid at and the work they do and how important they are to our life and our culture in every city, I think that speaks volumes. So I'd like to welcome my next guest to the show, Shivy Brooks.
Hey. Man, honored to be with you, man. Look, we've been trying to put this thing together for a long time.
Yeah.
You done blessed me and came on my platform a few times.
Facts.
And at a time like right now, where, I'm running for Atlanta City Council, for Post One at Large, to be able to come here and reach out to our community here in Atlanta, where a lot of times we feel disengaged from the political realm. We feel like we don't have anybody who speak our language or comes from our community or understand what we're going through. So we just kind of feel, you know what I'm saying, like a distance. For you to give me this space right now is huge, man, because we really got to get our young people engaged in what's happening in the city so we can take our city back.
No, definitely. And I can say this too. Me seeing you do what you do helped me to simplify mentally what I was trying to do when I first started doing the podcast. because I didn't know nobody personally who was even attempting to do this, what I'm doing on personal level. Like I knew B-High, so I would always call B-High. Shout out to B-High. He's my podcast mentor. Like he's the one who gave me the game. Do it like this. This is how you do it. But I didn't know how to work what I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I used to see your show, and I used to be like, he got music playing on it. He on Instagram. He got music playing. He got drops. People is calling. He got people. I'm like, and it sound good like the hell. I said, I'm gonna call Shivy. Shivy said, Parlay, go get the roadcaster.
Yeah.
I said, what that is right there? He said, He said, everything you try. He said, cause I had done went about a Scarlett. I had an iMac. I got chorus running. He like, Parlay, you don't need all that. You just need this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna go get it. I go get it. Boom. I say, okay, now what the fuck I do? He say, you do this and do this and do this. And I did this shit. And I said, oh, shit, I'm fucked up now. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to take this time out and say, appreciate you for turning me on to this shit. Yeah. Appreciate you for doing what you're doing. Yeah. Having me on your platform so I can be a part of that and to also experience and understand what I was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a big part of me being here today. So I want to say appreciate for that too.
No, man, we can be everything that we see. You know what I'm saying? We could be everything we see. And I think anytime we have like knowledge of how to do something, we owe it to our village to make sure that all get that knowledge. I can't stand when we try to be gatekeepers, you know what I'm saying, from each other being able to do something. So if I know how to set up a soundboard or get the mic set up or get you tapped in how you need to, then yeah, I'm going to get that to you because look what it turned into. How many black people get their voices heard because of what you're doing with your platform, man? Like, that's what matters. That's all that matters.
So listen, this is what we're gonna do. All right, the Partments. I know some. There's gonna be some people watching. They're gonna be like, "Oh, he just answered the phone." Listen, that's what y'all got. That's what I want everybody to understand. I think it was a good. It's a good episode for it too. Yeah. Listen, this is the Partments. Yes, it's a podcast because it fits in the realm of what a podcast is. But this is not a podcast. Mm-hmm. This is not a show. We in the Partments. We just got mics, and y'all just hearing what we talk about and the dialogue we having because this is the kind of dialogue we have all the time, and it is so important for people to hear. So you might hear a phone ringing. You might see people walking by. Shivy might get a phone call, might have to step to the side. I might talk to y'all about some more stuff till he get back. The department is going to see that. So if you see something like that, just don't be like, oh, yeah, this niggerish, and they doing this. It's departments. Welcome to departments. You know what I'm saying? So let's do this. On this show, I always like to get to understand the person behind the artistry. Get to understand the person behind who we watching, who's telling these stories. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all we're in apartments. Cars burning out, just told y'all what's going on. Yeah. But it's important for people to understand who you are because that helps them understand the why. Mm-hmm. And the why helps them understand everything that you're saying now. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that you're doing now comes from years and years of things that have been built and talked up for you to be able to be this now. And for people to understand that process, they have to understand who you are. Yep. So let's take it back to where you from and some of your influences growing up, preteen, like the stuff that you were seeing to kind of form your mind to sure. Like what you want to do. For sure.
Yeah, for those who don't know, my name is Alfred Shivy Brooks. A lot of people know me by Shivy. You know, I was originally born in East Orange in Montclair, New Jersey. Moved to Atlanta in 1988. My dad was a Morehouse grad, and my mother was his second marriage. You know, he had a first marriage to a Spelman woman. He had that Spelman, that Spell House situation going. Birthed my older brother who went to Redan. So I got a lot of ties here in Atlanta. I was here from 88 to 95 and moved back home to Jersey. And then in the early 2000s, I did Freestyle Friday on BET and was, you know, put in the Hall of Fame, won 7 weeks in a row, and had an opportunity to come back to Atlanta. I was working with Sean Garrett and some other folks down here and was putting in work. And then I had a close homie get shot and killed in a drive-by down here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And it just completely changed my whole trajectory of my life. Like, I stopped doing music. Matter of fact, I couldn't even listen to hip-hop music for maybe 3 years. I'd ride in the car, dead silence. And that was the first time, like, I realized what it felt like to deal with depression and kind of, you know, just feeling the weight of losing somebody to gun violence. And what I did mention, one of the other reasons why I moved to Atlanta was my brother got locked up out here for 10 years for a violent crime. And he had 2 babies down here, so I had to help come take care of his kids. So you know, on both ends, everyone talks about the gun violence and stuff going on in Atlanta, but I've dealt with it from losing plenty close homies, but also lost family members, you know, to prison over it as well. And so what that caused me to do was decide that I would focus my life on trying to make Atlanta a better place for young people to grow up, where we wouldn't have to deal with gun violence on either side of it, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So I went to college. I went back to college at Georgia State University. I graduated with a degree in public policy. I worked at the state capitol for a few years and all of those things. So then my wife and I lost a baby due to premature birth. And that was a whole nother, like, just spinning on my whole world. And, I went from traveling around and working for some state agencies to becoming a teacher. And at that time, man, my mind was blown. Like, I was almost disappointed in myself when I first became a teacher, because in my mind, I was like, I'm supposed to be on TV. I'm supposed to be on the radio. I'm supposed to be this rap star. And here I am, teaching high school, making less than $40,000 a year. Like, what am I doing with my life?
How did you come about teaching?
Yo, it's like a family business. Like, my dad is a high school teacher out in DeKalb County. He's out at Arabia Mountain. All my aunts are educators. It's just something that run in the family. Yeah. And for me, it's always about impact, man. Like, how can we impact our young people to give them the examples of everything they could be or how they can do it right? And unfortunately, in education, only less than 2% of all teachers are black men. It ain't many of us in the field at all. So every time a young person, especially a young black person, gets impacted by a black educator, black male educator, yo, it's a game changer for them. Like, the rate of their ability to graduate goes up. The rate of them going to college goes up. The rate of them dropping out goes down. Like, black male teachers have a huge impact. And so for me, it was like, all right, this is just a part of what I said I was going to do. So it's impacting the youth.
So, bam, now I'm finna go ahead and start teaching and stuff.
You should.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, this is what you're saying. So This is like, okay, I'm finna go ahead, for all this reason, I'm finna go ahead and start teaching.
100.
But at the same time, in the back of your mind, you like, nigga, I was like one of the biggest niggas on the biggest fucking black culture show out, period, right now. Like, one shit bigger than 106 Park, nothing. No. I don't do nothing, period.
Nah. Like, shoot, this was before social media was a thing.
Facts.
Like, I had a .com, and my .com had like 2 million hits. You translate that into social media day and time, I'd be in the M zone following.
Yeah,
if Instagram existed in that time. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
it was a huge thing. I mean, I done sat at every big boy label, from Def Jam with Leor Cohen to Bruce Carbone over at Universal to Sylvia Rowan over at, when she was back at Arista. Like, for those that know in the industry, y'all know what it is. Like, I was definitely in the seats all at
in
all
the loop.
times.
In the loop.
Matter of fact, because the deal that I was going to close was with Divine Mill. Shout out to KG from Naughty by Nature, because they from my hometown in East Orange, New Jersey. And I almost signed with them. And that's when, stuff kind of went awry, and I ended up coming down here to Atlanta. But Atlanta has always been home. I spent, most of my life here. My brother being from here gave me a lot of ties to folks down here. My brother was rapping, and like every little brother would be like big brother. That's how I got in it.
Yeah. My little brother's the same way.
I know he is. How could he not be, though? You know what I'm saying? Because your big brother is everything to you. You know what I'm saying? He like the cool version of dad.
Yeah,
like,
facts. Facts. That's what it is.
So it make you want to do whatever he on. So, I ended up having a lot of close ties to folk like Big Mark from the backwoods, and you know what I'm saying, like the folk like that down here. And so that just, I don't know, it gave me a different appreciation, because the culture in Atlanta is so different than the culture up north. Like, we was talking about that before before we came on. Like, Atlanta was one of them places at that time where, so long as you were authentic and you were yourself, you had a place.
Facts. That's one thing I can say about Atlanta. If you yourself, you come down here and you yourself, you'll relate. It's gonna be somebody down here who's gonna relate to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you come down here trying to do all that other stuff, that's when it goes wrong, because Atlanta is not what people think Atlanta is.
Yeah.
Facts.
It's one of the biggest pieces of advice that we had to give to a lot of folk that moved down here from up north was like, be humble. A lot of folk came from up north, like real arrogant.
Like we way faster, y'all slow thinking. In mine, they ain't so slow thinking. Y'all think they here down here. Y'all think. Let me say this too. Why we ain't right here? Listen, how many of them damn hats you got, bro? Because it's always seem like I always see a different fucking hat.
We got a couple on.
But you be rocking them goddamn hats, dog.
Hey, it's like a signature thing now. And the best part about it is I get all my hats from a black-owned company down here in Atlanta, Fruition.
Talk to them, give them a shout out.
Yeah, shout out Fruition Hat Company. They got a store in Lenox Mall. They got one in the West End. But to be able to support a black business and then kind of do something fashion-wise, which is, it's cool, it's flavor, but it's also an ode to the civil rights movement of the 60s when they were marching and they wore their suits when they was outside. They used to rock hats like this, you know what I'm saying, on the front line. So for me, it's like it's a nod.
It's definitely a black hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get some sauce, some razzle dazzle to it.
Yeah. Nah, definitely. Okay, so boom. So now you're down here. Now you're teaching.
Yeah.
Now you're still trying to help community. You're trying to stir the people. Let's bring them up to last year, to when we first linked up.
Yeah.
All right. Like for reason that you explained earlier, me being from the streets, I'm just like, politics. I ain't into it. It don't affect me anyway.
Yep.
Whatever the rule's gonna be, the rule gonna be. I'm gonna have to adapt to it like we always adapt to it. But then I start understanding about local politics, and me understanding about local politics came from my friend always telling me, Parlay, you need to get into this. And he into the politics, and I'd be like, I ain't into it. Parlay, you too smart. You got the voice. You need to do this. And as of lately, I started becoming into a mind state where I was like, well, everybody say the youngest don't listen. But I always felt like I never had that problem. Mm-hmm. So I always start saying, well, you start saying something to the youngest, if they'll listen to you, then I start just making like Instagram videos and I start going viral and everybody like, oh yeah, but this was going on. You should have been saying something. All the time I was like, oh wow, people listen to me like that. Like I understand who I am and the stuff that I did and and what I mean to the city, but people don't talk about you to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Until something happens. Then it's like you good at basketball and you outside dribbling and you shooting every day. Everybody gonna ride by and be like, this nigga is crazy.
Yeah.
Nigga, I just went here. I just came back. I've been on this girl house for 10 hours and he is still out here shooting by himself. And then when you hit the game winning shot, it's like, oh, that my homie from the hood, boy. Shout out Benefit. He putting the work in. Like it's kind of that. It's kind of like that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that led me to be like, you know what? I listen to what you're saying, and I asked my homie of mine. I always tell this story when it comes to politics. My homie, my big bro, Trick, and he do this type of work, and he explained to me like how local politics really affect what you do and how you do it. He explained it to me in a street aspect, where I could understand like from a street aspect, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that do this and that do this, or if I do this and oh, okay. So it came a time for me to meet Chris, who had ran for DA. Mm-hmm. And that's how I kind of got into that. Mm-hmm. And then that's how I end up running into you, running into Scotty, running into other, they will call y'all activists. I don't call y'all activists. I don't know the word. I don't know what the new word is. We got to come up with a new word.
Scotty said change creators.
Yeah, change creators. Facts, change creators. I love it though. Yeah. Run into some other change creators. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like all of us kind of like boom, 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 boom. It was like Voltron, like, okay, you the shoes, okay, you the arm, okay, you do this, oh, you the neck, okay, you gonna be the head. And it's like everything fit to everything what we did, and everybody served different type of purposes for the same reason. Yep. And even though Chris didn't end up winning the election, what they did though was build a bond with a group of people with the same mental and the same focus. Yep. and to start to get together, figure out how can we work together to make change on each lane that we're trying to make change on, and still cover all the lanes at the same time. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And therefore we end up getting together and doing Take Back the Streets. Yep. And we more powerful people, politicians, lawyers, teachers, gunsmiths, gangsters. Yep. And this is like one of the first time I seen like different forms of people get together and to really come down to talk about something that could change the community. And it really was like on some Black Panther shit, being honest. You see what I'm saying? Like the feeling of it. Like, okay, you do this and you do this and we talking about this. And that was important. Let's talk about why you started to get into politics.
Yeah. You know what though? Like first I gotta tip my hat to my brother Scotty. Like I'd always been involved in politics, like even as a high school kid, I was like an NAACP chapter member for my youth chapter, and all of those things. I'd always been involved, canvassing for Democrats and stuff like that, knocking doors for them. But it was when Scotty came to my school that he and I started building a relationship because he had did suits for like 5, 6, 7 of my high school seniors, and he paid for them everything, right? Bless my kids. And then the pandemic hit. George Floyd happens, and then some of my kids go outside in March. And in that whole time, in that process, Scotty really introduced me to a lot of the frontline activists and community organizers and grassroots folks here in the city. And so it was doing that work, like being outside and seeing the same stuff that I saw when I was marching the streets in 91 after Rodney King with my dad. I'm talking about tents under the bridges. I'm talking about people living out in the streets. I'm talking about police violence that wasn't being curbed by the government, those type of things. Like seeing it, that it's still the same stuff going on, it made all the sense in the world to me that it was time to put my name down to run for office, because the person who's currently in the seat that I'm running for voted against police reform, voted against closing the Atlanta City Detention Center, voted for the big old police training facility that everybody been pushing against, right? And this person is doing so many policies and votes that are harmful to us, our community, and our people, and what I know could eventually cost my own sons their lives. And so I just feel an emergency to do something about it. And it's only so much marching you can do before you start running. And you know what they say, if you're not at the table, you on the menu. And right now, the voice of the youth really has no voice on Atlanta City Council. And Atlanta City Council impacts everything. It impacts how your police engage with you. It impacts the affordability of the city. It impacts how much opportunity you have or you don't have. And what the status quo has allowed Atlanta to be is we got the worst wealth disparity gap in the country. I'm talking about what the average black person in Atlanta make, what the average white person in Atlanta make, is so far from each other that nowhere in America is it worse. You got a 4% chance to get out of poverty if you're born in poverty in Atlanta. Like these type of conditions for black people and what's supposed to be the black mecca of America is a disaster. And the worst part about it is that a lot of these policies and the status quo is being upheld by people who look like us, or upheld by people who are the legacy of the civil rights movement. But well, my dad was a Panther, so I grew up a certain kind of way, and I grew up with an understanding of responsibility for what we are supposed to be for our community. And so it's like, what do we do for our legacy? Are we gonna live up to it, or are we just gonna try to live off it? And so for me, it's about making sure that we live up to it, that we make Atlanta everything it's supposed to be, that we end mass homelessness, that we stop mass incarcerating black bodies, that we stop criminalizing young black men and women in this city, that we make it safe for us to engage with a police officer without, being a Rayshard Brooks or Oscar Kane or Jamarian Robinson. Like this is critical. This is critical. It matters. This one matters a lot.
Then the events of us linking up was so wild because in a short amount of time, so much happened. Yeah. Like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah, we was just trying to, politician, and the first thing was we just trying to get Paul Howard up out of there. We don't care. We just go. We got a young brother, he's really for change. He's really trying to help what we got going on. And it's always, like you say, finding the young voice, because the youth is the future. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get the youth, you're not going to be able to even find out or know how the future is going to go, because you're not in tune with the youth. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we kind of understood that. Yeah. And then one of the most important parts that I think about us just talking about that race, that DA race, was that they said he wasn't going to get like 5,000 votes, but with us standing behind him, the man got like 35,000 votes.
the movement pushed Christian Wise so far up. Like, he was right there, bro.
Yeah.
He was right there.
Facts. To be a young man in it, and then you got to think, and when I met him, it was like 5 days before the election.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Imagine if it was 5 months before the
Facts.
election.
It was literally 5 days before the election. And then I met with him one day, and I was like, I like what he talking about. And then I met with him another day, and I was like, oh, okay. Then we put the March on Bankhead, and that's when all us came. Then the movement. Then to go back to the story, then like you say, stuff happened at Wendy's.
Yup.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Then after stuff happened at Wendy's, that took a turn on some other stuff, on some street stuff, bounce it off. And then now, everybody in the room like, what we do, how we do it, what we need to do.
Yep.
We in meetings, we downtown in meetings.
In the DA office.
In the DA office, in the courtrooms. You see what I'm saying? And that whole process started helping me say like, bro, like, you really got put in a position to really have a voice for these people. Like, this is big. Like, bro, you would have told me a year ago, before then, Parlay, you gonna be down in the DA office. I would have been like, fuck off. Straight up. I'm not going downtown.
Right.
I'm not gonna go downtown and do what? What? No. Go talk to who? Go do what? But then I find myself in those situations, and I'm seeing on the positive side how much change it can make, and how when you have the right voices together, how them voices speak. You know what I'm saying? Listen, y'all. The people saying this how I feel, this how we feel. If it don't go like this, you're gonna have 1,000 people out here. We're not gonna stop them.
Straight up. And the ability to say it, and they know you mean it.
And they know you mean it. You know what I'm saying? Then that starts saying like, hey, bro, if you get the right message out there to the right people, with the right faces giving the message, the voice is the power of everything, dog.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And and this process had started to help me understand that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now, boom, this happened. How did you say that I'm going to take the Atlanta City Council seat? I'm gonna run for this.
Yeah.
What was the process, and what happened to make you say this is what I'm going to do?
It was after Ray Shard. After Ray Shard, and then the Atlanta City Council, shout out Antonio Brown, had put up a bill for police reform. They called it the Ray Shard Brooks Law. Mm-hmm. And it was going to make it illegal for a police officer to put somebody in a chokehold or shoot him in the back. It was going to call for more transparency with police officers and things like stuff that should be. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, everybody know they don't shoot nobody in the back. It's coward shit. Like, everybody know. You been knowing that back in the day when you go back to back and you take the step forward. That's why they did that.
Right.
You ain't never seen nobody get shot in the back. They're going to take their 4-5 steps and they're going to turn around, do their thing. So everybody know that's a coward way. Facts.
Yup, but unfortunately it happened. And it happens without any accountability, and that's one of the big issues. And so it's when I saw that Michael Bond, who I'm running against, voted against that bill after he stood out on City Hall steps with us. And folks told him, like, look, we need you to support this bill. He nodded as if he would, and then he went in there and he voted against it. For me, that was the last straw. Because, let's be clear, like, I live in District 1 in Atlanta over in the southeast side. And that's an open seat right now. And everybody know, number one, it's easier to run for a district than it is to run throughout a whole city if you never run before. Everybody got to learn your name. And it's definitely easier to win a seat if you running where there's no incumbent, like somebody's not currently in that seat. But we taking this the hard way. We're running citywide, and I'm going to get somebody who's been in office since 1994, and we're going to win. And the reason that we're going to win is because of everything that you talked about. Like, we sown the seeds for this to come true. Like, you got to have balance. We don't know who the mayor going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, let's be clear to everybody out there. We don't know who the mayor going to be necessarily. But what we need to know is that whoever is on city council is independent of the mayor's office and will hold them accountable if they're doing something that's not right.
Facts.
No matter who's in there. And if you continue to allow old guard folk, the establishment folk who, you know, all the big developers and all the big money kind of already got them under the thumb, if you allow these people to stay there, they're going to be easy to buy off. And what I think scares some of those establishment folks is that I ain't for sale. I ain't no broke politician. Yeah, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a successful entrepreneur through what I do on social media and with educators throughout the country. So can't nobody buy me off. I don't need their coins for that. Like, I'm really doing this for us. And that's the part I think that scares some of them, and I think it's a part that gives a whole lot of people hope, because it's like, wow, we could really get what we really deserve to have. You know what I'm saying? We done spoke the greatness up.
Yeah, we did.
What's up, King?
Right behind the camera.
That boy
What's up,
Christian.
dog? We done
That boy
spoke you
Christian
up,
done
man.
stepped in here.
Yeah, man. An apartment, man. Everybody, they know the energy, man. Listen, like I say, man, like I look at what's going on now, and it helps me understand Democrat and Republic better. You know what I'm saying? As far as the hierarchy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the different views and stuff. It don't matter what you run for, what party you take. It matter what you believe in, what you're gonna do about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I always in my life been saying I'm a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? But as of lady, as I look at behavior, I start to question it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think we got to break out of we just gonna vote for somebody because of an R or a D next to their
Facts.
name. And then, and what I'll say is with Atlanta politics, it's so complicated because we have what they call nonpartisan races. So we don't run as Republicans or Democrats in Atlanta. But the presumption is 9 times out of 9, whoever running is probably a Democrat. Like even if you got association to a Republican, that's almost like a whoa.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Like what's going on with you? But what happens from that though is that it's people who look like us that run and they throw dog whistle stuff at Republicans or conservatives. You know what I'm saying? They say things that they know is like they language, like I've never raised your property taxes, right? They'll say something like that, and they know who they talking to when they say something like that.
I don't want to tell how the commercial be saying, what it be saying, how the voice be saying it.
I've never raised your property taxes.
Why?
Right? Like they'll hit you with that.
Why do the voice on all commercials, no matter what state it is, be that same voice? Is it the same person?
It might be.
Huh?
It might be.
Is he doing all of them? It'd be the same voice.
Right.
You got a contract.
Right.
Huh, he got a contract. He's just gonna do these voiceovers right here.
Exactly. The incumbent has had over 300 ethics violations.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna tell you, too. Being in like political races and stuff, and elections and stuff, that is the closest thing to the streets that it is, bro.
Facts.
I promise. It's everything but fights and shooting. Everything you
It
can do.
borderline be about some fighting though.
Everything
Like,
you can do besides fighting and shooting, it goes on during that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't be doing that. Oh my God. What? He's soft. Y'all want it? Oh, but it be crazy. It'd be so funny as you sit back and just watch. Because like, as I was younger, I used to hate commercials. But as you get older, you really start to appreciate commercials.
Yeah.
Because you understand the commercials.
Yeah.
The TV can be on mute. Soon as I see an election commercial come on, no matter who it is, I got to turn the TV on.
And see what
I just want to hear what they talking about.
Yeah.
I want to hear what they talking about, man. It's amusing to me, man. It's amusing.
Yo, it's I almost wish that somebody would do like a reality show to show like the behind the scenes of like campaigning.
Oh,
and
dog,
what his
that'll
life
be-
is like. No, I'm telling you, like, folks don't understand. It get kind of saucy behind
I
scenes.
do.
Like, I deal with certain parts of town, my signs getting stolen out of people's yards, folk pulling out razor blades, they cutting it on both sides and taking the middle of the sign and running off with it. They done shot up some of my signs with paintball guns, like all kind of crazy stuff like that. You know, people, going up to folk that support you and threatening them and stuff like that. Like, but that's when you know you on their head though.
Yeah.
Cause if you're not a threat, if you're not winning, if you're not doing it for real, they don't pay you no attention.
Fact.
They just ignore you.
Nah, no facts.
But I'm here for all the smoke.
Nah, you definitely is, dog. Nah, you definitely is. Let's put the thing back up.
Let me get right.
Yeah, man, get that thing right one time. Get that thing right one time.
Boom.
So listen, give us some points and topics about things that you want to do if you become head of Atlanta City Council.
100. So I have a platform that's called CARES. It stands for Connected, Affordable, Responsive Economic Development and Safety. For the connected piece, I want to do a 5G internet broadband service in Atlanta. That would be free to low cost for every citizen in the city. I'm talking about you can get high-speed internet in your home over the air for $20 or less. Like, we have a real issue in this city with young people, especially not being able to connect to the internet. And it's shown like graduation rates increase tremendously when young people have access to the internet. And to be frank, you can't do nothing in nowadays if you don't have access. So I want to make sure that every young person has access to the internet. Affordable, because Atlanta is the worst city to live in America if you have a low income. We got the worst wealth disparity gap between blacks and whites. And it's happening. We're seeing the displacement of black people in the city because we can't afford it. Average rent for a one bedroom is $1,400. Like, it's just beyond us. Responsive because our city's customer service is trash. Like, people don't get what you deserve for your tax dollars. Like, if you need your garbage picked up, it's many a time it ain't gonna get picked up. You got potholes all over the roads. Like, you got traffic jammed up everywhere because our public transportation isn't a product that people want to use. People typically use it because they have to use it. Economic stability because truth is black businesses need access to capital. We don't have that same generational wealth opportunity that some of our white counterparts have. So we need the ability to tap into credit and tap into capital with more ease than say some other folks. And safety because look, we are dealing with some spikes in violent crime in the city, but also at the same time, folks ain't telling the truth about safety as well, right? Like burglary and robberies are down. A lot of the other types of more petty crime, stuff like that, is actually down. And people aren't talking about that. But I feel like it's honestly a time for us to make sure that we get some real police reform. And what that look like for me is I want a stronger duty to intervene in the city of Atlanta. So if a police officer witnesses another officer kicking somebody in the face while they handcuffed, they got a legal responsibility to intervene and do what they need to do to make sure that we get that person off. I want to make sure we invest in the education of our officers.
I'm not to cut you out.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Because police operate under a street mentality.
Yeah.
And they gonna tell you, like, you see them moving and stuff all the time. There don't be no lie. I'm not gonna rat my partner out. I'm not gonna rat. Well, if you're not gonna rat your partner out, he do some bullshit, then you not under your oath as a police officer.
But you know what's the worst part about that though? Is that not only do the people know that, but it breaks the trust that the people have for the police. And the reason why we're not able to solve a lot of the crime, and especially violent crime that happens in our city, is because people don't trust the police enough to cooperate. And so that right there allows for the same people who are doing violent crime in our city to keep on doing violent crime because the people don't trust the cops enough to say something about it. And so when you fix that trust barrier between the people and the police, then you're actually able to solve more crime. And the other piece is, folk talk about, training facilities and all the stuff we need. We really need? We need a crime lab, right? We need to fund a crime lab in Atlanta. And why I say that is, in order to get DNA, fingerprints, ballistics, anything back, they gotta take it to the GBI. The GBI take almost 4 months to get that stuff back. A lot of the violent crime and crime that happens in Atlanta is transient. These people come here, hang out for the weekend, do what they do, and they dip. If you gotta wait 4 months, you ain't never gonna catch them. And so that person can come back and keep doing the same thing. So if you could actually solve the crime that you encounter, then you can get those people off the streets, and we can make this a city that everybody feels safer in.
No, definitely. I thought that was important factors. Before we get out here, anything else you want to say? Anything else that we left out? Anything else you want to speak on?
Man, to the young people out there, who marched for the last year and a half, to the young people out there who believe we need real police reform, to the folk out there who are tired of seeing their grandma get out-taxed and out-priced out of their house.
Talk to them.
I mean, real talk. You know what I'm saying? For those who are trying to go find a job in Atlanta, but you're not able to find a livable wage. For the young business people that are trying to, start some real financial liberation for themselves, start some generational legacy for themselves. I know you need access to capital. And it's time for you to have somebody who's willing to represent that and fight for you the same way we fought in those streets, the same way we marched for this change. Now is the time that we make it pay. Now is the time we make it pay off. So unfortunately, we get a lot of young people that don't tap in for local races. We don't pay it attention. And so I'm calling every young person in. Get your butt up and go vote. I don't care if you vote for me or not. I don't care who you vote for. But get up and vote. Because when young people don't get up and vote, it tells the politicians they don't have to listen to us, which means they can make policies about us without us. And what that means is we get generations of people who are going to continue to get locked up because of race and age. It's the same thing they did after the 60s. This Gen Z is the largest age demographic in the country right now, and they're all coming of age. There is going to be a natural rise in the amount of crime because you got more young people turning 18, 19, 20, 21 when you at that age when you being a kid, but when you black, you don't get to be a kid at that age. So we gotta be more intentional this time around, or we are going to pay the consequences of this 5 years, 10 years down the road.
Well, I think so too. Youth is very important, man. So I want to say, appreciate you for your time. It's just a powerful shit. I know some things that people gonna listen to this, and they can be able to take for this and really understand what they want to do and everything that you bringing, and just give them a lot to tap into you and they look at your social media and listen to your show and tap into the person who you are and your character, because you got a powerful voice, and to actually see somebody do something is a whole nother thing than hearing somebody talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely giving people something to hang on to.
I'm just grateful for you, man, because when we have conversations and people talk about how you gonna tap in with the streets, how you gonna tap in with the young people, how you tap in with the gangs, how you do this and do that, and I'm like, we've been doing that before we was running for office.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been bringing the gangs together with all different factions of different people and having conversations about how we could bring peace to the streets, how we can change things, how we can get folks on the right track, we can clear people records so they can get real jobs, employment, loans, access, and stuff like that. Like, we've been doing that work. So you have given me the ability to say that and know that I'm not lying and know that they can go check the receipts on it. So I'm just grateful for what you do, because this means a lot to our culture and to our people, man. Like you said, man, we all came together like Voltron. Like, we need each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine the history books one day, they're going to be writing about what we do right now. They're going to be talking about how Lay and Christian Wise and Scotty Smart and Desi Banks and Attorney Griggs, and they're going to be talking about how all of us was outside and the change that we brought and the systems that we built for our people, man. We're making history right now, man. I'm proud of you, honestly, black man.
Appreciate it, dog. Appreciate it. That's an honor, dog, to be here. And to be part of this history, man. You know what I'm saying? Find your purpose, find out what you do, find out what you like, stick to it, do it, have a ton of vision. Understand fully the decisions from your actions. You know what I'm saying? Be about what you about, dog. But at the end of the day, you don't have to prove to somebody that you're something. Prove to yourself that you can live and you can be effective out here, dog. And I'm telling you that from personal experience. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing better than living to tell the story. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
And with that being said, it's your boy Parlay, man. We're in the Partments with Parlay. Meet me in the Partments.